City versus Manchester United for English football's most prestigious youth competition trophy. And we are here, of course, at Manchester City's second ground, not the Etihad, which is currently renovating the North Stand and is hopeful of being open for the final day of the Premier League season against Aston Villa. Manchester United said, we're quite happy to host at Old Trafford. Understandably, Manchester City said they preferred home advantage. I'm delighted to say someone alongside yours truly, Michael McCann, who is always a preferred option for me to have in the commentary box. A very good evening to Luke Chadwick.
Thank you very much. And it doesn't get any bigger than this in under-18s football. The Youth Cup final, the biggest game of the season for both these teams, and what makes it even more mouth-watering, the fact that it's a derby game. City v United, like you say, we're not at the Etihad, we're not at Old Trafford, but what it looks set to be a fantastic game tonight, and both teams, you can't really pick between them.
Let's take a look at the teams then, starting with Manchester City, who've made one change from the side that won 4-1 in the semi-final at home against Blackburn Rovers here. Jake Wayne comes in for Oliver Tevenin in a rearranged back line. Manchester United also make one alteration from their semi-final success, a win after extra time against Crystal Palace by 2-1. Amir Ibrahimov, who's been injured for the vast majority of this season, makes his first appearance in the competition, coming in for Nathaniel Junior Brown, who's unlucky to miss out, having scored the winner in the quarter-final against Sunderland.
Yeah, it is quite surprising decision, I think, seeing what Junior Brown's done in the last quarter-final and the semi-final, but it's certainly two of the strongest teams that the clubs can both put out. Really excited to see Teddy Lamb, who scored an incredible amount of goals this season. Of course, the man at Manchester United that everyone's talking about, the 15-year-old Gabriel, in that number 10 position.
968 Manchester United travelling fans have made the trip. The 2026 FA Youth Cup final brings together the red and blue sides of Manchester. Manchester City hosting Manchester United at the Joy Stadium. City already North League winners. They'll face Chelsea in the Premier League National Final next Friday at Stamford Bridge. And hoping to stay on course for a treble, Manchester United desperate to avoid finishing the season trophyless, having finished second in the North League and lost in the Premier League Cup final not too long ago on penalties at Crystal Palace. The Red Devils hoping to avoid further heartbreak in the Manchester rain. Manchester City, meanwhile, still dreaming of a treble of sorts and finishing the season National League and FA Youth Cup champions. Manchester United sold out their away allocation inside a minute. You can see the two managers are in there for the handshakes as well, as per the tradition and history of this competition, this being the 74th edition, going back to when it started in 1953. Oliver Rice leading Manchester City, and on the end there, Darren Fletcher in charge of Manchester United.
A massive night for both managers here in the Youth Cup final. As I said at the start, it doesn't get any bigger than this, and it's a massive occasion for both teams.
A bit of pre-match presentations, and this is all part of the pomp and ceremony that you'd expect for a game and an occasion like this. And whilst things like this are very much necessary as part of it, the players have got to try and keep their focus on the action.
Yeah, you can imagine there's a lot of nerves there. It's a big occasion for both teams. It's a massive game. It's an opportunity to make history for the clubs, to win the FA Youth Club. There's no bigger prize in under-18s football, and this is an opportunity for both of them, and you can't really pick between the two teams.
Rick Parry, the English Football League chairman, being presented to both teams there. And of course, both head coaches as well. Darren Fletcher, who earlier this season was involved in the Manchester United first team as interim charge for a couple of games post Ruben Amorim, but has since then chosen to step back to being in charge of this under-18s team. How we'd love to see Manchester United get their name on the trophy for a 12th time. It's time for the national anthem, God Save the King. anthems complete, the national anthem complete, I should say, of course. And kick-off mere moments away here at the Joy Stadium. You might have spotted Emil Heskey there. He'll be watching his son Regan in action tonight, who is part of this Manchester City lineup. Emil was alongside me on commentary when Regan scored a pearler in the quarter-final. One change for Manchester City to the team that won 4-1 in the semi-final against Blackburn Rovers here, coming from behind. Jake Wayne comes in for Oliver Tevenon in the back four. City winning the Northern League with 2 games to spare, but since then have slightly just lost their very high standards in their last couple of games, albeit they had already wrapped up the title, picking up just 1 point across those 2. As for Manchester United, they've also made one alteration to semi-final success when winning after extra time at Old Trafford against Crystal Palace. Amir Ibrahimov comes back from his long-term injury and makes his first appearance in this competition this season in for Nathaniel Junior Brown. Luke Chadwick alongside me, a Premier League winner with Manchester United in 2001, but fiercely neutral as best he can in the commentary box tonight. Luke, what are the emotions for both of these sets of players at a moment like this, with so much on the line in different ways? Manchester City still chasing that League and Cup double, meanwhile Manchester United desperate to not finish the season trophyless.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of nerves out there. Maybe slightly less in terms of, because of the stadium being at the Joy Stadium, you can see a couple of famous faces there. Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, Michael Carrick. It's brilliant to see them first team players come and support the youth team in games like this.
It's interesting, Michael Carrick has weighed in on the venue for this final. He described himself as being disappointed to see the game at the Joy Stadium. He said getting to the Youth Cup final always seems to have been a thing where you play at the main stadium and it's such a showcase event for players of that age group. So we're disappointed. I've had some amazing memories, some of my best memories in a competition like this, playing with your close mates, and it's a shame it hasn't worked out for whatever reason, but it's a great opportunity. Pep Guardiola in attendance as well, as you would expect, hoping to see Manchester City progress towards further success, having last season under Oliver Rice come so close. Manchester City runners-up last season, losing in the final to Aston Villa by 3-1, having gone ahead early doors. They actually won this competition in 2024 for the 4th time in their history, but they've had a remarkable knack in the last decade or so of getting right to the final stages of things. This is their 8th appearance in a final in 12 seasons, but they've lost a few more of those than they might have liked. Defeated in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, and last season as well. As for Manchester United, no shortage of history. They're chasing their 12th ever FA Youth Cup success. They've already won this more than anyone else, Chelsea with 9 and Arsenal with 7. And that man there, Gabriel, is probably going to be key tonight for them.
A key player all the way through. Probably didn't have the effect he would have liked to have early on in the semi-final against Crystal Palace, but scored with a fantastic finish and came alive after that. I think it's quite noticeable looking at the teams come out that Manchester City are the physically stronger team, so I think it's so important for Gabriel to get on the ball tonight that United move the ball really quickly.
And we highlight Gabriel, but it's worth mentioning as well, this is ultimately an under-18s competition. He is 15, he is the baby of either team, really. There's Parker on the bench for Manchester City, who's also 15. Those are the only 2 15-year-olds involved. These two, of course, have far more experience. Oliver Rice in his 2nd season in charge of Manchester City, desperate to go a little further than last season when they were runners-up in the Youth Cup final and runners-up in the National League final. So, we're all set here. Manchester City versus Manchester United in the 2026 FA Youth Cup final here at the Joy Stadium. City in light blue, United in red, but you knew that already, didn't you?
I think both teams made slower starts at the start of their last game.
Yeah, they can't afford that here with so much at stake. They've both won 1 game each in the league head-to-head meetings. Both sides won the away fixture. Manchester United will hope that that little run continues tonight. United desperate to avoid finishing the season trophyless. Manchester City on course for a league and cup double. Manchester United losing out in the Premier League Cup final at Crystal Palace on penalties. Meanwhile, Manchester City have got that Premier League National Cup final, National League final, I should say, at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in 8 days' time to look forward to. So, contrasting emotions for both. This is it for Manchester United's season. City do have another chance at silverware in 8 days' time.
Yeah, a lot's changed over the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks when United have a really good opportunity in the league campaign as well. But City have come away now and they've got the opportunity to get quite a historic treble this season if they keep winning games.
Of course, Manchester United winners of a treble themselves back in the 2023-24 season. And they last got their name on the FA Youth Cup back in 2022 when more than 67,000 were at Old Trafford as they won 3-1 against Nottingham Forest. Alejandro Garnacho scored a couple of times. Toby Mainoo was on that team sheet as well. And I think the 67,000 they got that night or so, Rick Chadwick alongside me, might have been a little bit of a factor as to why City were in no rush to give up home advantage despite not being able to be at the Etihad.
Yeah, you understand Michael Carrick's disappointment in terms of what he said, that it's a massive occasion for these players, an opportunity to play in front of a massive crowd. For whatever reason, we know that the work's been done at the Etihad to not allow the game to be played there, and you, like you rightly say, you understand 67,000, the majority of them Manchester United fans, is going to give them advantage should they have switched to Old Trafford.
Mills clears long, there's too much on it for Gabriel. A little bit of a scrappy start from both teams. Slight mistake from Braithwaite, which United couldn't capitalise on, and then to continue the theme, a misplaced pass that deflects off of Bragimov. And Hughes, very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Gets it out to Mills. City setting their stall out on the high press though. Dan Armour. Bit of pressure put on McCormack. No foul given by referee Neil. Keen to let play go on. Floyd Samba. Chance for City to try and build a platform. Regan Heskey. Scored a lovely goal in the quarter-final win here against Everton. Trying to make something happen. Trying to follow in a bit of a Heskey dynasty after his brother Jaden was part of the team that won it a couple of years ago in the final against Leeds, where more than 20,000 were watching just over the road at the Etihad. Jaden Heskey, one of the stories that day. Crossed the ball, hits Samba. It wasn't meant for him. I think it was looking for Heskey.
Yeah, I think City have started a little bit brighter. It'll be interesting what they do. You mentioned earlier about the high press. We see in the quarter-final and semi-finals, both Sunderland and Crystal Palace stand off United and let them play a little bit in these positions and let Cameron Burn-Hughes have the ball. As City are looking to press a little bit higher this evening.
Nips. He's known for being comfortable with the ball at his feet, but was maybe taking a chance there, Cameron Burn-Hughes, but has got it away to Armour, and this is better from United. Gabriel helps it on. Ibrahimov. Still going, lovely run this. And Ibrahimov eventually forces a bit of a desperate recovery challenge from Jake Wayne, who timed it well enough. First corner of the game.
Really good play from United. Fantastic pass through the lines from Dan Armour to find Gabriel. He finds them little spaces so well, and that's the first we've seen of Ibrahimov, and he's certainly having a run and being really positive on that right-hand side. I'm not sure if it was a corner or if it's come off him and gone for a goal kick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Lovely bit of play from Wayne in terms of trying to get that touch off Ibrahimov. Now City's turn to build, but not Tyrone Samber's finest moment with the ball at his feet. If you are curious about that surname, it is sometimes the FA Youth Cup slightly a game of guess the famous footballer's son, and there's both of the Sambas in there. It's fair to say that Tyrone and Floyd Samba's playing styles a touch different to their father.
No, their dad was a fantastic centre-half, but I've never seen him play sort of a creative midfield player, so it's very different in terms, but the Samba brothers have obviously had a great impact in this cup and in the league season for Manchester City.
Manchester City winning the league by 4 points and securing a 5th Premier League North title in the last 6 seasons. 2 back-to-back now under Oliver Rice, hoping to go on better when winning the National League final in 8 days' time when they play the winner of the Southern League, which was Chelsea, who absolutely dominated that league, 16 points clear with just 1 round of fixtures left.
Safe to say they're the champions there.
Yeah, I think when it's that big a margin, it's a long way beyond dispute. Here's Ibrahimov. Touching again from Ibrahimov. He needs a little bit of support. He gets it from Halafu, who's ever willing to get forward down that right flank. Tipped on by McCormack. Just going to say just under 1,000 Manchester United fans, but they're certainly making their presence felt here.
Yeah, they're certainly making the atmosphere at the moment.
Ibrahimov on for Gabriel, Manchester United's chief playmaker. And now Ibrahimov does get a decent cross in. Looping header slightly missed time by Chido Obi. It's always a little bit further behind him, the cross than he'd like.
Yeah, you're not sure if there was a shout then with Jim Waits coming in behind, whether there was an opportunity there, a better opportunity for him, but really good wing play again from Ibrahimov getting down that side, and really encouraging for United in terms of Gabriel having an impact early on in this game, which we didn't see that much in the first half against Crystal Palace.
Something to encourage the Manchester City fans. It's a good bit of hustle from Lam, and there's possibilities for a second. Nice bit of covering back, now clear to the path of Mars. Gets it away in the sunshine to Makeda. It's not the warmest of spring sunshines though here in Manchester.
Is it ever in Manchester?
Braithwaite. Slightly heavy touch when trying to bring it forward. It probably wasn't the worst thing that he committed the foul from a City point of view, because the counter-attack might have been on there for Manchester United.
A positive play by Braithwaite, stepping through, and he knows that Chido Obi's not going to want to come back with him, so he stepped into the line, but the heavy touch there took it away from him.
Again, a theme of the early part of this game. City very unafraid to press really high. Eventually a foul on Albert Mills.
I think the biggest difference we've seen so far is the fact that City are pressing so high. I think Cameron Burn-Hughes was holding on to the ball against Crystal Palace, but then not getting the press and being able to play out, where City are pressing so much higher in the early stages.
Again, Burn-Hughes not short of company from blue shirts, but something that tends to phase Cameron Burn-Hughes too much. Obi a chance to chase. It's not the most convincing bit of defending from Manchester City, but it works out in the end. Wayne helps it on. Heskey back there doing his defensive work. And now suddenly there's possibilities on the counter. Floyd Samba, Makeda. They want to chop onto his left foot, but goes around the outside instead. Lovely work from Makeda. And it's away in the end by Armour.
Brilliant from Makeda down that right-hand side, showing the fullback a clean pair of heels. Just couldn't get that cutback right on, but again, City now coming into the game and looking to dominate a little bit more, and there's time on the ball.
Just trying to thread one through for Heskey, but Halafu could cut it out. And United again trying to riddle their way out of this Manchester City high press. Too much on the pass for Gabriel, who's left throwing his hands up in disappointment. Miles and Floyd Samba exchanging passes again. It's also interesting to see the tactical matchup here. Manchester City pretty almost exclusively stick to a variation of this 4-3-3 with a deep sitting 6 in the form of Harrison Miles. Manchester United go about it a slightly different way, in something that tends to map out as a bit closer to a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I think Miles is the obvious one that sits in, does a fantastic job for City, where United are a little bit more fluid in there, where McCormack tends to be the deepest player all the time, but allows Quakes to get forward.
Possibilities here for Tyrone Samba. Twisting and turning. Scored a couple of goals in round 4, which was one of City's stable wins of the entire campaign, a 5-2 home win against Arsenal. was the kind of result that made quite a few people across the country sit up and take notice, even for a team of City's excellence. That was in mid-January as part of the run that's taken them here. They then went away to Chelsea in round 5 and won 4-1 before beating Everton 3-0 at home here in the quarters and coming from behind to defeat Blackburn 4-1 in the semis. Flick-on didn't quite work. Kakonki and Armour working it out for United. Ajayi has got a lot of blue shirts for company, but having done all the hard work, will be frustrated to have clipped it into touch.
Disappointed up, some fantastic footwork there from Ajayi. He was coming into this game full of confidence after a couple of goals at the weekend. I think playing in more of a central position, but back in his more familiar left-wing position this evening.
Yeah, Manchester United looking to recover their form somewhat. 3 losses in their last 5 across all competitions. That cost them the Northern League title, and it also saw them lose the Premier League Cup final away at Crystal Palace. Too much on that, Burn Hughes can gather.
McAdoo looking very lively on that right-hand side, shows he can go on the outside a few minutes ago, and this time cutting on the inside. An intelligent pass, but a little bit too much on it.
Phil Foden watching on. You'd expect for an FA Youth Cup final there'll be plenty of famous faces from both the blue and the red side of Manchester. Foden, once upon a time playing in this competition for Man City as well. As Burn Hughes has got to be careful, and you can see Teddy Lambden, all he can do to whip up the Manchester City supporters.
We've seen that a few times. Without doubt, Burn Hughes is fantastic on the ball, but does take a chance at times, and that's a high press. It's brilliant work rate from Teddy Lambden, as you say, looking to get the crowd going as well.
Bold and courageous from Manchester City. Burn Hughes is known for being good with the ball at his feet, but he's getting a real acid test around tonight. Ibrahimov drifting infield on by Thwaites. Chance for United against a by no means set defence. Ajayi now has got 2 hunting him down, and it ends up with Headley.
Good work from Dante Headley there against the dangerous Ajayi, and doubling up as well. McAdoo's work rate is they've stifled out what was a dangerous position there for Manchester United.
United having to adjust as much as anything else to the mental battle here, because they're on this long winning run, 14 wins in a row to start 2026, having finished last year with a disappointing defeat against Everton back on the 20th of December, but having had that long winning run, they then have lost 3 of their last 5 league defeats to Sunderland and Newcastle, and those 2 defeats in the North East ultimately handed City the title with 2 games to spare. And then on top of that, they lost the Premier League Cup final 6-5 on penalties at Crystal Palace. They went in front as well through Noah Ajayi, an equaliser from Casey in the 80th minute when Albert Mills was sent off. Casey scoring the penalty, and then Palace winning on penalties decided it. Here's McAdoo. United sat very deep. McAdoo starring particularly in that win at his old club Chelsea in round 5. Chance to shoot. Simple save for Burn Hughes. First effort on target for either team, and it comes from Dante Headley.
Came inside really well there, the fullback getting forward, and it's a comfortable save, but I think it's a fair shot on target so far, and he has hit it well with his weaker left foot, but easy to come from Burn Hughes to gather it in.
Gabriel links up with Halafi. And it's a bit of a compliment to how City have set up, but Gabriel's coming that deep to try and get involved, to try and start attacks and link the play. Obi commits the foul well before he'd got through one-on-one with Hudson.
I think it's always something that the sort of player that Gabriel is playing between the lines, you do get a little bit frustrated in their positions and drop a little bit deeper, but he has had a couple of moments of success early on in this game in the first 15 minutes that should give him great hope that he can find their positions. And it's a really important job for Harrison Miles, who's so good on the ball at switching and play to cover their positions to stop Gabriel. As you say, Manchester City will be happy the deeper and deeper he goes to receive the ball.
City setting to go maybe a bit more direct, maybe the double bluff from Hudson. No doubt Obi, a big threat for Manchester United tonight. Scored in round 5, scored in the quarter-final, then scored the winner in the 116th minute to break Crystal Palace's hearts at Old Trafford in the semi-final. just about kept in play. And Gabriel and Ibrahimov work their way out of a space the size of a telephone box. Good advantage played by referee Tom Neild for the foul on Gabriel.
Lafu coming inside again, that new sort of way of playing a fullback, of playing in them central midfield positions. You can see him now, he can find some space, and he's always looking, as he done effectively against Crystal Palace.
What a back heel that is, suddenly possibilities for Manchester United. Three options, one of which was Obi. Would have been the most baby soft of soft penalties, in the opinion of yours truly.
The United fans were baying for him behind the goal, that's for sure. No VAR this evening.
I was going to say, very much up to referee Tom Neild with input from his two assistants to make the key decisions. These sides 1-1 after their league meetings this season, both of which were engrossing high-scoring encounters. Back on 27th of September, City won 4-2 away at United. Goals from Gabriel and Thwaites at United 2-0 up. City scored 4 unanswered in the second half. Floyd Sam with a hat-trick, and he also set up Harris and Miles for the other one. Heskey. Still, lovely challenge from McCormack in the nick of time.
Does that so well, Rafe McCormack. Does the jobs that maybe the other central midfielders don't want to do. Does the dirty stuff, gets tackles in and covers positions. He's done that fantastically well in this tournament so far.
Lafu again, just trying to drift infield. Often ends up being that sort of underlapping fullback again, ending up in a bit of a conventional central midfield position. Forward by Ibrahimov. Gabriel on the spin. Such a dangerous runner. He's feeling like he got a little bit of a shove there from Miles.
Miles is certainly getting closer to Gabriel now after that first 10 minutes, where Gabriel found a little bit of pockets, but he's getting the physical stuff from Harrison Miles at the moment when he is picking the ball up.
City just sitting off a tiny bit more than they did in the first 10 minutes when they were on an ultra-high press.
Yeah, it seems one of the triggers for Manchester City is when the ball goes back to Burton Hughes. That's when they seem to go for the high press.
Great hold-up play from Obi. He's managed to release Gabriel, and he got that away to Obi. City were in trouble. Lovely dynamic transitional play from United to almost open the game up for themselves. Now it's United's turn to go on the high press. Foul on Headley from Obi.
City seem to be playing more of a back three in possession. I think that's allowing Dante Headley to get forward a little bit more. So it's interesting to see. Defending it's definitely a back four, but I think in possession they switched to more of a back three to build the play.
Well, there is your penalty shout. It was Braithwaite with the challenge.
I don't think even VAR is going to give that one.
Solid challenge in the nick of time from Caden Braithwaite. Caught Obi, but caught a big chunk of the ball as well. Heskey. And still. Unselfish. And now Miles. McCaden. They can almost be hypnotic when they get this passing going Manchester City. They're trying to walk it in. They might do so. Lovely feed. And it needs a red wall back there, led by McCormack, with a second big challenge in as many minutes from Manchester United's defensive midfielder. Brilliant foul on Kokonki.
Brilliant from McCormack again, getting back in there and making a block. I think the real sort of danger men are McCaden and Heskey for City in their wide positions. Heskey comes alive when he gets the ball, and sort of that language style got in the box before playing it across, and then brilliant from McCormack to make the block.
I'm sure there'll be a few questions though in the Manchester United defence as to how Manchester City were able to literally pass themselves to being on the edge of the 6-yard box. If McCormack doesn't make that challenge, then there's every chance Floyd Samba does get that shot off and it's 1-0.
Yeah, and I think that's where the ball carriers are so important. I think Heskey carries the ball 10-15 yards, and that brings United back, and then in that position they are defending their own box. But to commit against Heskey, you know he's going to be away and causing problems.
As we expected, a tight Tense game of tactical chess between two very evenly matched teams. Obi decides to shoot, and in truth it was going to take something very, very special to score from an angle like that against a keeper of Max Hudson's quality. Manchester United's first shot of the game.
Encouraging for Obi though, so first real touches inside the box and first chance. Quite surprising in terms of Drake standing off him a little bit and allowing him to get his shot. But like you say, it's going to take something very special, but we have seen him do special stuff in this tournament so far.
He's one of the relatively few players on the pitch tonight who've made their senior debut. Started in May 2025 against Brentford, the youngest player to start a Premier League game for Manchester United, whilst still 17. It's pretty much exactly 17 and a half at that point. Here's Gabriel. Still going. There was a bit of shirt jostling, which can always be a dangerous thing. Over here, but it will fall for a Jay. Still there for Manchester United. Tries a roulette and accidentally sent himself to the casino, Jay. And now Headley can try and get City away. Miles is calm under pressure as he so often is in that holding role.
Fantastic play from City there to get out and now right in the opposition's half.
Free kick for the foul from Ajay.
A bit of frustration from Ajay there after trying a little pirouette and it not coming off. Headley defended it really well. A bit of revenge.
Yeah, frustrated forwards tackle, you might say.
Exactly that.
You know, with Ajay, he's got plenty of those tricks up his sleeve that can come off. United again guilty of standing off for a second. Good block comes in eventually, but they are defending very deep at times against Manchester City. Nicely timed sliding challenge from Ibrahimov. Ibrahimov once more. Just gives it straight to Braithwaite.
Another effort from distance and yet another block from Rafe McCormack there, who's been fantastic in that defensive midfield role in his first 22 minutes.
Only Manchester United have reached more FA Cup finals than Manchester City. Really disappointing thing for the blue side of Manchester, their conversion rate. They've only won 4 of their 13 finals, but had their name on the trophy 2 seasons ago and lost to Villa in last season's final. And they led in just the second minute through Matty Warhurst, but went on to lose 3-1. Trying to get their name back on the trophy once more. Heskey goes down. It's a foul from Halafu in the opinion of referee Neil.
Yeah, I think a clear foul there from Halafu. Heskey just stays so wide, and that can be a danger at times with the way that Halafu plays in terms of in possession on them quick transitions. They can get him on the ball and running with it, and as a fullback you don't want to be defending against Regan Heskey the way that he can manipulate the ball and the pace that he's got.
City look set to get Braithwaite and Drake and Headley all up. Pump this one into the box. A game that's seen few clear-cut chances. Maybe it's a set piece that can make the difference. It's in from Miles. It's not cleared. The offside flag didn't go up. Brilliant save by Cameron Byrne-Hughes. First clear-cut chance for either side. United survive. City come again. Heskey on the turn. Another crucial intervention from McCormack, who's been United's best player so far. No foul, and now Obi needs support, but wins the free kick. That's excellent hold-up play.
What a wonderful save by Byrne-Hughes there. The one man that City want the ball to fall to there is without doubt Teddy Lamb. The ball comes back across, is well onside, but fantastic instinct save by Byrne-Hughes. Keeps the scores all square.
Lamb has 33 goals in 30 games across all competitions this season. You can see from his reaction, he's almost surprised that he managed to miss.
He can't believe that it's not gone in.
Here comes City again though. Once more, United defending very deep. Heskey trying to find his way through. Tyrone Samba. Heskey blocked from McCormack, who at times feels like a bit of a one-man wall for Manchester United here. Corner Manchester City.
City is starting to look very match where United is always sort of playing out, and it's certainly the tide's turning in City's favour the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Chido having an extended chat with the assistant referee about exactly where he can place the ball for the corner. And that gives a chance for referee Tom Neal to have a little chat with both teams about the inevitable pushing and shoving that goes on in the box. Quite a physical presence there, Braithwaite against Ibrahimov. And that back post. What can Chido produce? I don't think there's too many guesses as to where it's going. Right into that 6-yard box. Chido and Burgess does really well. Plenty of bodies around and in swinging such that it might have even been going in, and then we're going to have a corner right at the other end. Completely unenforced error from Manchester City, and Dante Headley hands Manchester United a set piece.
Yeah, it's really let United off the hooks. They're under a lot of pressure there. The ball's in, and we've seen Burgess just got a good hand on it, but not really got the distance. And we've seen it in the previous rounds, where it's like a Premier League game now in the Youth Cup. The ball gets put on the goalkeeper, they crowd around him, and it's sort of anything can happen in there. And City have certainly got the size to cause United problems.
So the whole thing about fashion goes in circles. Here comes Manchester United attempt to put a good ball in. It is a good ball, and it needs Braithwaite to be there.
Set play is so important in football. It always happened, but it seems even more so now. The amount of goals that we're seeing, even at this under-18 level, you can see the holding, the blocking. They're certainly learning the dark arts very early to get people in a bit of space in the box.
Ibrahimov in front of the Manchester United fans. 968 of them. Winning this ball in as United chase their 12th FA Youth Cup title in their first in 4 years. It wasn't a bad one. Armour didn't quite know where it had gone. It had come off the shoulder of the defender. Now Heskey. Slightly heavy touch allows United to keep the ball. You can definitely feel the nerves of both of these sides. There's been no shortage of mistakes in possession. Some of it has been forced by high presses and good opposition play, but some of it has absolutely been the occasion. We haven't yet seen either side's best in open play at all.
No, I don't think we have. I think both teams have been good out of possession in the various ways that they've pressed. Again, you can see Teddy Lamb looking to put pressure on Cameron Burgess there. But what was a bit of a strange one from the Manchester City corner, we saw Ibrahimov picking up Chido Braithwaite, and the size difference was something from a Manchester City coach. It may be something that I'd be honing in on.
Yeah, it's a phrase you actually hear more often in cricket these days, matchups between batters and bowlers, but that is a matchup at a set play from a football point of view. I think if you're City, you're fancying that all night.
Yeah, some size difference there.
Armour fighting Obi to chase in the channel, but Obi is offside.
We know one thing with Obi, though, that he'll not stop making them runs, even if he has a disappointment, if he's offside, he misses chances, he always keeps going. We see the amount of chances he had in the semi-final before getting the winner with a couple of minutes to go.
And he also ultimately set up Gabriel for the chip that put United in front, so for all on the night, he could have easily had a hat-trick. He ends up, with that perseverance, getting a goal and an assist. And Cormac with the foul on Samba. Quite had necessarily the amount of goal chances one might hope between two exciting high-scoring teams with almost half an hour gone, but it does feel like this game is starting to bubble and spice.
Without a doubt, I think it's perfectly understandable. You don't want to concede a goal early on in these games. Both teams have been a little bit cagey, but then we have seen a couple of chances. We have seen the players express themselves. Cormac again there, getting back in.
Cormac having a tussle with Tyrone Samba, who's got it away to Heskey. Still Heskey. Heskey does get it across. Away by Mills. Wayne. Tyrone Samba. Trying to pick the lock. It's a lovely pass. Shot blocked by Mills. Now it's Ibrahimov. Slips, and that gives the chance for Miles. Foul by McCormack. And Floyd Samba. You can definitely sense almost almost on a minute-by-minute basis now. Both teams have settled into the game. The tempo is increasing at a furious pace.
Yeah, I think City have still got the upper hand at the moment. And Dante Headley there from right back coming into that inside left position where it's a really, really good block from Dan Armour in the box. But City are looking a stronger team at this moment in time.
It's another set-piece chance for Manchester City. They've definitely carried a threat from the first couple that they've had. Will be Harrison Miles over it again, who can put a good ball into the box. He's been an excellent signing at the start of last season after 9 years at Southampton. Like a lot of the players on this pitch for both teams, is already a youth international. Miles with England. After all that, Miles in fact goes short for Headley. Makeda draws the foul off Kakonki.
I think that was the right decision to not put that in the box there. The angle wasn't really there for Harrison Miles, and they've shifted it out wide. They found that danger man, Ryan Makeda, out there again, and he wins another free kick, and I'm pretty sure this one will be put in the box.
Yeah, particularly given the threat that they showed when they've done that previously.
They've worked it into a better position now, and the angle obviously in this wide position is so much better, and it's going to be Makeda to draw this one out.
Almost held that corner into the back of the net 5 minutes or so ago. And are we looking for that kind of far corner again, those types of awkward in-swinging deliveries that if nobody gets a touch, it might even end up in the net in and of itself. It's Ryan Makeda to deliver. And from Makeda, nobody got a touch, and it dribbles out of United. Live to fight another day.
It's not a bad ball, and I think he would have liked to have got it closer to the goalkeeper in that sort of corridor between the goalkeeper and the defenders for United, but it's harmlessly wide for a goal kick. And then see if City are going to do this high press as it goes back to Cameron Burn-Hughes, because they look like they're ready to go.
Yeah, they're almost like sprinters at the Olympics in the 100-metre line, waiting to charge in to the area at the earliest opportunity. United do like that little short play to Burn-Hughes. That's their modus operandi on goal kicks.
I think that's the first time they've gone a lot longer, and you can see that Obi's outnumbered back there a little bit.
Given away to Ibrahimov, no foul by Tyrone Samba. Now Wayne marauding forward from left back. This is the modern way. Makeda scored a beautiful goal in the semi-final here, and that's a lovely way to pass from Makeda. And then the return ball inside, penalty appeals, referee totally disinterested. And it's going to be a booking as well for diving, just to put salt into the Manchester City wounds.
I think once he gives it the other way, he has to book it. Again, Headley causing real problems going forward. And I'm not sure, there may have been a little touch there, whether it's a penalty or not for a penalty. I don't know if we have got VAR, whether there is some contact, but I'm not
There's
sure.
definite leg-to-leg contact. Whether there's necessarily enough in the referee's mind, well, clearly there wasn't for referee Tom Neal.
I do think the yellow card was a bit harsh there. I don't think it's a dive, but maybe there wasn't quite enough contact for him to give the penalty.
So Dante Headley walking the tightrope on the yellow. Tyrone Samba. Heskey. Scorer in the quarter-final and semi-final here. Tyrone Samba again. Jake Wayne, even City's left back, able to maraud forward, but then losing his wavelengths to Tyrone Samba, thinking that Samba was making that run out the line.
United will be happy with that. I think they're pinning United back now. It's been quite a while since United had a really solid spell of possession and got up the pitch to any extent. So it's a little bit to take the heat off and take their time with this front and regroup. Some more famous faces in the stand.
Yeah, Antoine Semenyo, pretty much all the seniors from both squads are here tonight, the vast majority of them. Makeda spinning and turning. Kakonki shirt pulled briefly, will come back for more punishment for that maybe. Heskey that right foot, slightly heavy first touch from McCaden. It's a wall of red shirts camped on the edge of their own penalty area. Floyd Samba trying to thread it through for Lamb. Armour. Now Manchester United hunting something on the break. Through Ajayi. Does manage to get a pass away to Obi, and it's Gabriel. And he has support arriving from Ibrahimovic, two on the far side. It's Obi. It's Chido Obi. And it's a fantastic block by Caden Braithwaite. United come alive on the break.
What a block from Braithwaite. That really is a goal saver, and that's where City were pinning United back. But a bit of magic from Ajayi into Obi, well onside Gabriel, and it's a great opportunity and fantastic defending. You think for all the world why it's going to end in a goal.
Caden Braithwaite doing for City what we've seen Rafe McCormack do a couple of times for Manchester United already tonight. 5 shots each, 2 on target for City, 1 for United. We've always got to apply a bit of the eye test to numbers like that, though, in terms of the quality of chances created. And on the whole, it's been Manchester City who had slightly more of the run of the play.
Yeah, I think United needed that. That's going to give them a little bit of confidence to show that they can hit City on the break. They can get rewards from doing that.
Konki ordering his way through down the left. Looked up to cross, didn't see a lot in the box. Rare chance to get forward, and he's got it away to Gabriel. Gabriel with the quick feet does go down, and eventually, just like he did at the other end, referee Neil says no penalty, and it's a booking for diving. So Gabriel on a yellow.
Wonderful, wonderful feet from Gabriel in the box. And again, I do think it is a little, maybe that is more of a yellow card than the Dante Headley one. There's not much contact at all there for him to go down.
You can see there's just a moment there where Caden Braithwaite puts his hand on the shoulder of Gabriel, but it's safe to say that is not nearly enough contact to justify going to ground.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's fantastic feet for him to get in that position. They just went round to go around maybe one player too many, but the way that he manipulates the ball, the way that he moves his body is a special, special talent.
He is 16 in October. It's astonishing to think he is one of the youngest players on the pitch tonight. Gabriel, he made his under-18s debut in April last year as a 14-year-old. And I know Manchester United, there's a lot of hype around him. They're keen to just try and hold him back as best they can, but next season he does become eligible to play for the first team, and I know a few people are aware that were he to make his debut, he might just become the youngest player in Manchester United's history. To do so, to play at that level, as Tyrone Samba wins a free kick. Referee Neil tried to play advantage, will come back though, and Rafe McCormack will go in the book. And that's particularly concerning for Manchester United, because as a tough tackling defensive midfielder like he is, that might just make him have to think twice about how he copes for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I don't think that's a yellow card on its own. I think it's been an accumulation of challenges from McCormack. Don't get me wrong, some have been fantastic. I think that's maybe 3 or 4 fouls now that he's given away that's led to the yellow card in that instance.
Yeah, it was 4 persistent fouling. First direct free kick chance of the night. Plenty of candidates. Floyd, Samba, Caden Braithwaite or Regan Heskey. Most often it does tend to be Floyd Samba from ranges like this. It's over the wall, and it's in! What a strike from Floyd Samba! Manchester City in front. He scored in the 5th round. He scored in the quarter-final. But now on the biggest of stages, Floyd Samba produces a cracker to put Manchester City in front.
The technique is out of this world. To get it up and over the wall into the top corner, there's no chance for Cameron Burns-Hughes, and it's absolutely brilliant. To have that whip and the curl, to get it up and down, is certainly a goal worthy of an FA Youth Cup final, and Floyd Samba has done that absolutely brilliantly. Brilliant moment for him and his family to score a goal like that in the FA Youth Cup final.
And a nice little pre-rehearsed celebration with his brother Tyrone as well, there to share the moment with him.
How special is that to be on the pitch with your brother, to play in the same team and to score a goal? It's absolutely fantastic, and true memories that they'll never ever forget, whatever they go on to do in their careers.
But of course, the result of this final might just dictate whether those memories have a tinge of disappointment if Manchester United were to come back, or an extra tinge of satisfaction with a picture of them together lifting the trophy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd prefer the latter on that one, and they've got a picture of the trophy, but it's still, no one can take that away from Floyd Samba. A goal, and what a goal.
And the funny thing is as well, it's the kind of range, as you point out, that a lot of players actually don't like free kicks from there because it's always too close. Here's Gabriel. Manchester United looking for a quick reply. Bragimov does get a cross in. It's Miles who's back there. Alafu. Bragimov again. Alafu. Into Rome infield. Now Thwaites just lifts one in. That's awkward. And it's not in! An instant response from Manchester United. Just a minute or so after going behind, Kokonki goes in at the far post, and Darren Fletcher's side are level.
The game has come alive now, and that is the modern-day fullback. What a fantastic run from Kokonki to get in the box there. It's a brilliant header as well, but not forgetting that Jim Thwaites' cross here. Just look at, again, talking about technique, it's a wonderful cross in the box. And look where the left back is to get up into that position and score a goal, and to show that composure as it comes down right in the middle of the forehead, unstoppable from Kokonki.
And Godwill Kokonki was the man who missed a penalty that handed the Premier League Cup final to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park last month. So that will mean even more to him, having had that moment of heartbreak in a final just a few weeks ago. It's he who gets Manchester United back on terms. Crossfield ball driven beautifully by Floyd Samba. McCaden trying to slot them his way through. Miles with the chance to shoot. Just dragged it, it took a nick, and it will be a corner.
I think Miles would have preferred that on his left foot. He's got a half-decent strike behind it and got his team a corner, but there's no true word said as you're at your weakest after you've scored a goal, and that equaliser came so quickly when maybe City could have sort of took the sting out of the game a little bit, but United have come back and showed their character.
We've got it confirmed by a hard-working production crew with the stopwatches in the background. 59 seconds. 59 seconds of time between the ball being in the net and either end. And it might be about to go in the net again for City here. McCaden, his last corner nearly went in and of itself as an Olympico goal. It's another similar one from McCaden. It's a similar save from Ben Hughes. It's Heskey. And now it's Marcus, this time getting a chance to have a goal on his right. Cannons off Alafu. Another corner.
It was almost a clone of the last one in terms of where it went.
City want to play free, quick. Heskey whips it in. Ben Hughes comes, doesn't really get there. And referee Neil says corner. Ben Hughes wants a foul. Nothing doing.
Who says goalkeepers get too much protection?
Had plenty of company from Braithwaite and Drake, and once again, I don't think you're going to win many prizes for guessing where it might be going. Surely towards that back post of the 6-yard box from McCaden. Well, they changed it up. It's Miles to drive one, and it's straight to Ben Hughes, who almost palms it straight to Braithwaite. And now he wants to play it quick. Looking forward for Gabriel. Gabriel wrestled to the ground. It's one thing Manchester United like to do as another yellow card comes out. This time, City incurring the referee's wrath. Jake Wayne going into the book. They like to leave Gabriel up as their only player from corners because he's so dangerous on the break. Of
great distribution as well from Cameron Burns-Hughes to recognise the moment to go quickly and get him in, and he's nearly, well, he's one inside a free kick, and you know, like the opportunity to take the sting out again a little bit.
Just 1 minute of additional time in this first half. Too much on that for Ibrahimov. And then this game and all of us here get a chance to take breath.
Ibrahimov starved of possession after the first 15 minutes. He's offered United really good width on that right-hand side, but they've not really got him on the ball. He looked really dangerous in the first 10 minutes, got a couple of good crosses in, but struggling to get him on the ball now.
Oliver Rice, pensive on the touchline, built his career coaching CV with more than a decade at Hertha Berlin, the 43-year-old, born in Berlin, and then came across to be head coach of the Manchester City under-18 side at the start of last season.
Looked like he was absolutely fuming there, and I'm sure that's because of the equaliser so soon after taking the lead.
Half-time at the Joy Stadium, a game that has bubbled, fizzed and crackled, and by the end of the first half was simply spectacular in terms of the frenetic tempo. Floyd Samba had Manchester City in front in the 40th minute. Godwalker Conke equalised just 59 seconds later at half-time in the 2026 FA Cup final. It's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. Well, it is a first half of the FA Cup final that certainly lived up to his billing. Manchester City almost in front here early on through Teddy Lamb.
Brilliant save by Burns-Hughes there. Lamb, who's been eating them up all season with the amount of goals that he's got, cannot believe that he's not put City in the lead there.
Lamb, the top scorer in the North League with 25, just clear of Manchester United's Gabriel, who's scored 23. And then McAdoo causing chaos as he so often does, as City continued to start the better and had some strong appeals for a penalty here.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of contact. Whether it's enough for it to be a penalty, I'm not sure. I do think the yellow card was a little bit harsh there, as we can see up here as well with Gabriel. There's a little arm on the shoulder, but maybe nowhere near enough for that to be a penalty, in my opinion.
Gabriel with those fast feet, and was Braithwaite. He made contact, but nowhere near enough to draw the attention of referee Tom Neal in terms of giving a spot kick. And after that, Floyd Samba with a moment of quality in the 40th minute, scored in the 5th round, scored in the quarter-final, and this was straight out the top drawer.
Incredible technique to get it over the wall and into that top corner, leaving Burns-Hughes with no chance really, and it is the first bit of real quality that we saw in the game, and it's a wonderful goal for Floyd Samba, and he'll remember that one for a long time to come.
Yeah, particularly having been at City since the under-8s. He's been there for more than a decade, and born in Macclesfield. Can't get too much more local than that. And Manchester United had a quick response, though. We talked about the technique on that free kick. How about the technique there from Thwaites to set up Kokonki?
Yeah, the second bit of real quality that we saw, and that's Jim Thwaites, 59 seconds after City took the lead. I'm sure the City coaching staff will be not happy at all with that, but Kokonki, the movement, the desire to get in the box from the left-back position is absolutely brilliant, and he didn't disappoint with a header into the bottom corner.
So plenty more drama to come. There is the possibility of extra time and penalties if we need it. At half-time here at the Joy Stadium, this game is very much living up to its billing, and there's so much more to come. We'll see you for the second half in not too long. At the break here, it's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1.
And also two huge blues, absolutely huge blues, policy to give you a side bonus and great Jackson. So to you guys, a great weekend, and as always, blues.
at half-time in this FA Youth Cup final, and Manchester United are making a change at the break. After a first half where they had to absorb quite a lot of pressure, Nathaniel Junior Brown comes on in place of Rafe McCormack. Here's an interesting one. McCormack, the defensive midfielder, did pick up a booking, but was arguably United's best player in that first half. And Junior Brown is a more attack-minded, often wide player. Scored a sensational winner in the quarter-final. Likes of Michael Carrick, Mason Mount, and Luke Shaw, amongst those watching on. Of course, Pep Guardiola and plenty of others representing the blue side of Manchester as well. And alongside me once more for it, and all the drama to come, which might include extra time and penalties, is Luke Chadwick.
Yeah, really surprised with that. Like you say, the yellow card might have had a bearing on it, maybe an injury, but like you say, Rafe McCormack was United's standout player out of possession in the first half, making challenge after challenge, blocking shots and just being more or less everywhere. So that's going to take a bit of a reshuffle now for United, because he's so important as that holding midfield player.
Manchester City looking for their 5th FA Youth Cup. Manchester United for their 12th. Obi almost snuck through there. Leke Drake had to be very, very careful. Nearly got his pocket picked in the worst of places.
Yeah, high energy start from Chido Obi there, getting in his face, and maybe a bit harsh with a foul there. It looked like he didn't really use too much physicality, but the refs made the decision, and City breaking dangerously again.
Heskey up against Talafi. Twisting and turning. He rolls it back. McCady. Slightly over here. The idea was right. Looking for Headley round that overlap. That's something Manchester City are known for doing very well. Trying to create those overloads, drag you right across to one side of the pitch before getting those fullbacks involved on the other.
Yeah, I think certainly Headley has been the more attacking outlet for City from the fullback positions, and whether that's making them overlaps on the outside, but also coming inside the game as well and getting a few opportunities.
Nicely brought out by Armour. But the pass was a little too telegraphed for Gabriel. City's turn to be a bit nervous in possession. It's something that we saw quite a bit from both teams in the first half, in the first 10 minutes or so of it, and there's no doubt that the occasion's having an influence here.
Yeah, perfectly understandable, I think. I think there was so much energy, so much endeavour in the first half, but we saw that real quality come a bit later in the half, and particularly with the 2 goals, with a fantastic finish from the free kick and a brilliant cross for the header.
McCady. Crucial foot on it from Kokonki, and then Burn Hughes comes out. And referee Neil not interested, despite City's appeals.
I think Cameron Burn Hughes has got a good touch on the ball here for it to, the referee's given a corner. You can see it sort of break through. Again, very, very tight, and a potential penalty there in terms of, I don't think he's got anything on the ball for the ref to give the corner.
Well, there is no doubt on the second look slowed down. It's Floyd Samba, the Manchester City goal scorer, who gets there first. And there is contact. Cameron Burn Hughes might count himself a touch fortunate. McCain, whose corners have been a nightmare for United in this game. That's another decent one. United scramble it clear. Miles back towards goal. Armour with the challenge, and is quite quick to not so gently let his opponent know that he should quickly get himself up from the floor. All part of the fun of the fair.
Told him in no uncertain terms to get to his feet there.
Yeah. Since there may have been the odd word that were we to use it up here in the commentary box, our employment might not last a bit longer, but it's all the tension you'd expect from a Manchester derby with so much on the line. Heskey. Inside, finds Tyrone Samba, who scored a couple in the 4th round. And again, you see, just trying to work that overload. That time was trying to find McCady. By Miles. Drake. got past Kukonki almost, and then Gabriel got involved. It's a really good advantage from referee Tom Neal. Did his best to let play go on from the initial foul, and then brought it back.
Yeah, the correct decision. I think it's interesting to see what United have done here with Amir Ibrahimov coming inside the game and onto the into the central midfield area, and Nathaniel Junior Brown. It's taken a little bit of time to work that out because Jim Thwaites is keen to get forward a little bit more. But it looks like he's now playing in a Rafe McCormack role as a holding midfield player. So it's taken a bit of time for United to work that out early in the second half, and City is certainly dominating the possession again.
Cagey with great bit of skill to keep that in. And Kukonki wins the duel that time. And then keeps going. Was fouled by McKay. Another good advantage played by the referee. Gabriel in behind for Obi, who has lots of options. Seems to want to go himself. Slightly reluctantly lays it off for Noah Ajayi. Ajayi runs out of room but does win the corner off Henry.
Certainly some sliding challenges going in the box, which you've got to be careful with. The referee's shown that he doesn't mind making decisions to give a number of yellow cards. I think this is again, there's a little bit of contact there before the ball, and Ajayi is so clever with his feet that it's a risky business with Dante Headley there.
Now United's turn to try and threat from set piece. Ibrahimov didn't beat the first defender. In fact, it was Ibrahimov with the strike. And then a small foul in there from Tyrone Sambro allows United to keep the momentum.
I think Jim Thwaites will be a little bit disappointed the first time United got the chance to get off the pitch, get some quality in the box. He's not beat the first man with his quality. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with that.
That sunshine, just a slight issue for those Manchester United defenders. It will be gone in not too long. Ajayi now puts the afterburners on to get past McAdoo. Recovery challenge from Headley was good, but United corner.
Really positive start to the second half from Ajayi. I think in the first half we saw more of McAdoo and Heskey from the City team, and other than the first 5 minutes of Ibrahimov and Ajayi didn't really get in the game, but in his first 6 minutes of the second half, Ajayi already winning 2 corners by being really direct with his play.
Thwaites known for his good deliveries. That's a much better delivery from Thwaites than the previous one. Now McAdoo can lead the breakout. Went past Gabriel like he wasn't there, and he's got support arriving in the form of Heskey. Might just go himself. It's McAdoo for Heskey, who's uncharacteristically off target. Regan Heskey scored in the quarter-final and the semi-final.
What a break by City. Incredible pace by McAdoo as soon as he breaks that first challenge and goes, and Heskey, fantastic to stay with him. He's going to be disappointed with that, to not hit the target, because it is a fantastic opportunity from a Manchester United corner.
You tend to see strikers there look to go across the goalkeeper into that far corner, and he seemed to be trying to almost double bluff Cameron Byrne-Hughes to try and go back towards that near post instead.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's fine if it's on target, you give the goalkeeper something to do, but because he's not hit the target, it is a disappointment from the position that Manchester City found themselves in there.
Easy to see as well from moments like that from Ryan McAdoo, why he's already made his senior debut for Manchester City, scoring in it 10-1 win against Exeter City of League One at the time in the FA Cup third round in January, and he went on to play for City in further rounds since too. Someone who Pep Guardiola might have a particular eye on tonight in terms of how he might use him in times going forward.
I don't think he's done himself any harm in front of the first team manager tonight with the impact that he's had on the game so far.
Uncharacteristic slice from Kukonki.
It's been a really good battle with McAdoo and Kukonki down that side. 2 really physical, fast, powerful players. Obviously, Kukonki got forward and scored the goal, but you'd probably say McAdoo's had the better of it while he's been running and dribbling with the ball.
Haven't seen Manchester United on the high press too much, but we see it here, and that presents a chance for City to break out, but a rare error in possession from Tyrone Sambro.
I do think the fact that Rafe McCormack's come off has left United a little bit disorganised in what they do. They know when he's on the pitch, he's going to be the deepest sitting midfield player.
And just as we were mentioning him, Pep Guardiola watching on. Of course, plenty to play for at senior level for Manchester City. But for tonight, taking time to think about this level of things, that's a little bit of luck there for Ibrahimov, who slipped in a pretty bad place to do so.
I'm not sure if he meant it. That was a new skill that he's come up with there to get out of the press from City.
All's well that ends well, as they say. It's fascinating to see how United have tactically reorganised since Nathaniel Junior Brown came on for McCormack. It looks like Thwaites is just sitting a tad deeper.
I'm not sure he's as comfortable there. I think Thwaites playing in that 8 position, he sort of gets forward, he sits at times. Now he's got to sit because he knows he hasn't got that protection of McCormack behind him in this half.
Still a long way to go, and fascinated to see how both coaches use their benches more as time progresses. Of course, United have already made that early changes. That's another beautiful take from McKaydu, plucking it out of the sky. Now he's got past Kakonki. It's McKaydu on his own, and it's over. What a magnificent solo run from McKaydu. We saw a version of this in the semi-final against Blackburn. So close.
Yeah, he's becoming quite unplayable at the moment when he's running with the ball. It's brilliant. Kakonki doesn't think there's any space there, but he finds it. And the only thing missing is that finish. Whether the cutback was on would have been a better option, but he's gone for glory. Unfortunately, just a little bit underneath the ball. But it's a brilliant chance for City, and McKaydu is the danger man at the moment in that side.
It's very easy to see why Chelsea were absolutely gutted to lose him. He was at Chelsea from being an 11-year-old to a 16-year-old. He was at Colchester United for 3 years before that, but he's been at City since the start of last season. And was mentioned not too long ago, quickly progressed from joining in the under-18s to making his first team debut 18 months later.
Yeah, fantastic to get that first team debut. You never know what the right thing to do. Obviously, at a smaller club like Colchester United, where the potential was probably higher of playing plenty of games, but obviously got the opportunity to go to Chelsea and then to Manchester City, and at this under-18 level is making a massive impact, and the future looks very, very bright for him at this club.
Now here come United, Ibrahimov. Bundled over by Wayne. And then Brown in there to try and continue the attack.
I think with McCormack going off as well, it has lost a little bit of strength for United. Nathaniel Junior Brown, brilliant winger. Obviously, Emirates Ibrahimov, who played on the right in the first half, but probably hasn't got the physical presence that McCormack's got, and it leaves United a little bit weaker in the middle of the pitch.
Ibrahimov again, trying to work it out of a very tight space. Heskey back there doing his defensive duties. Had the pleasure of commentating alongside his dad Emil for the quarter-final, and that's one thing he really stressed, that it's actually something Emil was also known for, despite being the forward, being as much as it might sound a bit of an oxymoron, tactically a very good defensive forward. And that's something he's really embedded into both Regan and Jaden from a young age.
Yeah, I think if either of the two Heskey boys have a career like their dad, they're going to be very happy. Such a hard-working player and a brilliant, brilliant striker in the Premier League and for England over the years.
Yeah, very modest about it, but I think sometimes people forget that at the same age as Regan and Jaden pretty much are now, Emil Heskey was already playing regularly in the Premier League and hitting double figures most seasons.
Yeah, and I think the game has changed slightly in that way, where you see players maybe come through a little bit later now, they don't get thrown in. Obviously, the money available, the chance to just buy in ready-made replacements, it takes a little bit longer, but the two Heskey boys have obviously done fantastically well at Manchester City, and it'll be interesting to see where their careers go.
Yeah, no shortage of famous faces have played in this competition, of course. When you look back, it is quite the roll of honour. George Best, John Barnes, Bobby Charlton, David Beckham, Terry Venables, Graham Souness, Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney and Gareth Bale, just some of those who have either won or been runners-up in the FA Youth Cup once upon a time. Both these sides desperate to be in one of those two particular categories, of course, as Tyrone Samba just draws the foul.
He's played in fits and starts tonight, Tyrone Stamford. Some really, really nice touches, but I feel like he'd like to have more of an impact further up the pitch than what he's had so far.
Oh, lovely ball across, and Lamb is left frustrated.
Seems so effortless for Regan Heskey, the way that he runs with the ball and beats players, and then a great ball in there, but no one on the end of it.
Gabriel. And still Gabriel. He might fancy this himself. He didn't quite catch it cleanly.
Great position. The game's opening up a little bit more. It seems a bit like a basketball game at the moment with end-to-end stuff. Really good position for Gabriel to get in. Didn't quite get the power with a shot, but a lovely step over to manipulate the opportunity, but didn't really test Max Hudson.
Feels like we're getting a slightly similar second half to the first, in the sense of a bit of a nervous first 5 minutes or so of it, with both teams giving the ball away quite a lot, and then the game settling into quite a ferocious end-to-end tempo.
Yeah, it seems a little bit more open in this second half, the stage that we're at now, but both teams have got so much power, so much pace to break quickly. I think that's where we can see it sort of go end-to-end at times.
Who's got the courage to risk it a little more? They're both naturally very attacking teams. Heskey puts the ball in, too much on it for Lamb. This is a Manchester City team that have scored 96 goals in winning the Premier League North title this season, so they've certainly not got a shortage of goals in them, scoring them at just a 3.7 a game, and Manchester United haven't exactly been slouches either.
No, not bad, I suppose. 3.7 a game. You can't really complain at that if you're the coach of the team.
But they are two teams, interestingly, that tend to play in slightly different ways. Manchester United have actually been far better defensively, despite finishing 4 points behind City in the league. They've conceded 15 fewer goals. Manchester City tending often to, as they have done in this game, give opponents a bit of a chance on the counter-attack, but a bit of a you score one, we'll score three, you score two, we'll score four kind of approach.
No, yeah, you can see when you beat the first press from City, it's such a hard first press, so once you get through that, there is an opportunity to get in their back four and to get in behind them. So it's probably not a huge surprise that they've conceded more goals, but also at the same time, not a surprise that they've scored so many goals. Foul throw.
Yeah, moment to forget for Godwalker Conkey.
He just slipped out his hand.
Manchester City all too happy to benefit. City seeing off Fulham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Everton and Blackburn to get here. Manchester United having a bit of a luck of a mostly home draw in their path through to the final. 1-0 home winners against Peterborough United in the third round. They won 4-1 at Oxford at the Kassam in the fifth. Before that, they had to get past Derby after extra time at Old Trafford. 2-1 in the fourth round. A 3-2 home win against Sunderland, where they had to score twice late to stop Sunderland on their best Youth Cup run in a generation. And then United winning in extra time for a second time in this competition when beating Palace in an enthralling semi-final. Here's McAdoo. McAdoo's cross. Mills was there.
Once Lukonki shows McAdoo on the outside, you can't defend him. I think he's got to get a little bit closer to him.
Obi is offside. It's always right on the line of that offside flag, Chido Obi. He's always playing off that last defender.
I think that goes for both the number 9s tonight in terms of they neither have had a massive impact on the game that they would have liked to have, but they both know when a chance comes along, there's every chance they'll put it away, and they're both more than capable of getting chances with the fantastic movement that they've both got.
It's anybody's final with just over an hour gone here at the Joy. And you wouldn't be too surprised if we end up getting to extra time or penalties either.
You see how tight they've been with each other all season in the league campaign, even in the under-21s league, they're very close together. That a lot of these players have played in that as well. It does feel like it's one of them games where, like you say, you wouldn't be surprised.
Heskey gets a great cross in and Lamb over the bar, and a poacher of his standard will be gutted to not put that on target.
Brilliant from Heskey, great ball in, and again Lamb, that's two chances that he had. Like we said earlier, he's been gobbling them up all season. Brilliant movement from Heskey. It looked like Halafi was trying to read him a little bit. He was going to go feet and good ball in, and he's just put a little bit too much on it and put it over the bar.
And you'd imagine Mills and Armour are having those conversations as a centre-back pairing, saying, how has he managed to get between us?
Yeah, exactly that. And I think you do, as a central defender, when that ball goes through, you don't know where he's going to be because he's so good. He plays between players, but with this one, he's not put it in.
Tyrone Samba just got caught in the feet and gave a chance for Ibrahimov to clip. Serial poacher Teddy Lamb. He scored 33 goals in 30 this season, and he hasn't started quite a lot of games for Manchester City because of the presence of the impressive 15-year-old Parker and so many other attacking riches. Foul on Obi, who's given Manchester United that relief on the break, and it will be another yellow card.
You do get that feeling this evening, and it's going to be one of them number 9s that could potentially settle this contest. Both players have had a couple of chances, have looked lively, but not put it away so far. They're the two that you're looking at. If you're a Manchester City player, you're looking at Teddy Lamb to go and win the game, and as a Manchester United player, you're looking at Chido Obi to go and put the finishing touch and to get your team in the lead.
Finlay Gorman ready to come on for Manchester City. Midfielder who signed from Leeds back in 2023. Made waves at Leeds. He was their youngest ever player to play in their under-21s. And that was more than enough to tempt Manchester City into going after his services. I wonder who it might be. Just looking at the way tactically he plays, I would have thought that possibly Tyrone Samba or Floyd Samba might be the two obvious candidates to come off in terms of the City system as attacking midfielders. But of the two brothers, it's Floyd that's been slightly the more effective. So I'd speculate it could be Tyrone Samba who's going to make way when this change comes. The referee won't make it yet. Manchester City actually wanted to make it, but the throw was taken too quickly by their own players to allow it. Here's Heskey. Rolls it back to Tyrone Samba. Just loses out. Now Gabriel trying to lead a breakaway. Sliding challenge was a good one from Thwaites, and Burn Hughes is alert to make sure it's not a corner.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it will be Tyrone Samba that makes way. I think he pulled up a little bit there, maybe a little bit of cramp, not moving that freely, and maybe a message was given to the bench, but it'll be, as you say, that's who I expect to come on for Manchester City, and the shape to remain exactly the same.
Here they are. Almost rigidly sticking throughout pretty much every game this season to that 4-3-3 system, and they're very keen on playing it right through the age groups, Manchester City, so that players are well prepared for various roles within Plan A for Pep Guardiola at senior level. Ajayi ends up in a bit of a Manchester City sandwich, but now it's Kakonki, the goal scorer for United. Gets the corner of Headley.
Good defending again from Dante Headley, important challenge to make. We're getting to that sort of 70-minute stage where legs start to tire. We start seeing a fair bit of cramp. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a fair number of substitutions in the next 10 minutes or so.
Chance to get a decent delivery in from Thwaites. Known for it. That is a good delivery. United won the heading contest. It was probably 2-1. Ibrahimov. Now back in by Halafu. It's nodded down, and Kakonki is down in the 6-yard box. Manchester City can breathe a little easier, and that's a nice touch of Caden Braithwaite. So this scores machine straight across.
To see that, we're a Manchester City, Manchester United game, and there it is, Tyrone Samba who makes way.
So it will be Tyrone Samba to come off. Tyrone Samba, who's played a big part in this Youth Cup run for Manchester City, scored 2 in the 4th round win by 5-2 at home against Arsenal, and at various points has contributed important assists or second assists as well. And on comes Finlay Gorman, who's had a few sub-appearances across this FA Youth Cup campaign and plenty of minutes in the league winning side as well. And as mentioned before, Leeds' youngest ever player at under 21 level in their entire history, which, given the kind of players that have come out of that academy, that tells you the talent he's got.
No, without a doubt, and obviously to be signed by Manchester City as well makes you feel like he's obviously got a lot of talent, and I'm sure he's coming on this pitch dreaming of getting the winning goal for Manchester City from the subs bench.
Yes, they have built a reputation, City, for being, let's just say, very busy in the transfer market at this level. The likes of Finlay Gorman or Teddy Lamb at Manchester City. There's a few others scattered across the squad who had an impressive season or so in and around that under-18s level, who City have been quick to go after and get into their ranks and benefit from their services.
No, I think Man City have always, sort of since the building of the Etihad campus, the way they've gone about it, they've recruited strong, they've spent a lot of money on players very similar to the Chelsea model and how they do things in the south of England, and it's all about getting the best possible players for the football club. And I think for them smaller clubs, the money that's paid makes a huge difference to them as well.
Worth saying as well, there's certainly a spine of this Manchester City team who are a little bit more local. The likes of Caden Braithwaite's been at City since the under-8s. The same can be said for Tyrone Samba and Charlie Courtman as well.
I think at half-time, I think it was a pre-academy on the pitch playing little games, and they've certainly got some fantastic 7-, 8-year-olds there. And I'm sure in years to come we'll be on this pitch, or on the maybe even better at the Etihad if they're allowed to play the FA Youth Cup final there in the future and get some minutes. But it's brilliant to see them young kids being able to have something to aspire to with the club getting to the FA Youth Cup final, which is such a huge thing, whoever you are.
And they are making a bit of a habit, Manchester City, of getting to this stage. Their 8th final in the last 12 seasons. Before that run, they certainly had some proud history in this competition, but they were definitely not getting to the latter stages anywhere near that regularly. As Ibrahimov carries nicely. Brown, he can produce moments out of nowhere. It's his goal into the roof of the net that won the quarter-final for United at home against Sunderland, but now Heskey on the break. You sense neither of these teams are even remotely in a mood to shut up shop and settle for extra time. We've got plenty of twists and turns left. On by Gorman, McCaden, one of City's brightest stars. Gorman again. Switch of play is good for Heskey. Wayne. Drake. McCaden. He's got no shortage of red shirts for company. Gorman. Braithwaite. Floyd Samba. Lovely pass in between the lines. Headley's found a pocket of space. Now McCaden. Vital touch from Kokonki. And then Ajayi trying to break out. No foul, and so City have it straight back. And this is what Manchester City do to teams, as one coach from a side that will remain nameless said to me, somewhat off the record, but said, you can quote me on it but not say it was from me. He said, my goodness me, do they pass you to death.
No, and that's what they're brought up to do at Manchester City. They keep the ball, and it's so hard on the feet for the opposition to keep moving side to side, stopping, breaking through, and the game's got a very similar pattern now to just before when Manchester City scored in that first half.
Okay, you've got half a yard on Kokonki, and Headley wanted it. He's one of the players you feel is most likely to provide that moment of magic, McCaden. Gorman for Heskey. Wayne. Heskey. Manchester United fans lending their voices to their team's defensive effort.
I think the players need to hear that at the moment. They're really struggling to get out and get up City's half, and it's really all Manchester City these last 4 or 5 minutes, which is dangerous time because they move the ball so well between the lines.
City chasing a 3rd FA Youth Cup in 6 seasons. beat Chelsea 3-2 in COVID at St George's Park in 2020. James McAtee, Morgan Rogers and Cole Palmer all on target that night. I've heard those three have gone on to do pretty well.
Done okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then 4-0 winners against Leeds a couple of years back at the Etihad across the road. With Wodo, Jaden Heskey, Stephen Mfuni and Matthew Warhurst on target. And they really are passing United to death here. And now the cross does come in looking for Lamb and too much on it. And Burn Hughes, well, here we go. I was just about to say Burn Hughes likes to play it quick, but seems in the mood to slow things down and give United a chance to get their composure. And as it is, Burn Hughes not only picks the ball up, and unusually for him isn't interested in distributing quickly, he's in fact picked up an injury of some sort that means that he simply must receive treatment now. Now, you know, for those who don't live under a rock and aren't in the Stone Age, they'll be aware that this is becoming an increasing theme of the game. We hope that he makes a miraculous recovery. We strongly suspect that he will.
I'm guessing your suggestion is not injured and he's gone down.
I'm just suggesting he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he will be.
Given that I'm not even sure there was any contact with him in that passage of play at all. Even that with the cross.
That is happening more and more. Not obviously not just an under 18-inch football. It is that opportunity. What can the referee do? He has to stop the game. He can't tell the goalkeeper to get up or go off the pitch. So the opportunity for the physio to come on, and you can see some tactical sort of information from both sides of the benches. But United need this. United need to take the sting out of this game somehow, because they're finding it harder and harder. And we go back to the goals there. Obviously a brilliant free kick from Floyd Samba, and Kokonki with the header. Again, probably still the biggest bits of qualities we've seen in the game. Obviously the free kick was magnificent, and the cross from Jim Thwaites for Kokonki's goal. But we've seen loads of energy, loads of endeavour, two teams doing everything they can, but maybe that final bit of quality is what's been lacking in the game so far.
And a real test this for Darren Fletcher, as a head coach elected to drop back to the under-18s who he's coached since the start of this season. Rejected the chance to be part of the senior coaching team after Michael Carrick took over as head coach for the rest of the season. Here goes McAdoo, advantage City. And he's managed to get past one, and the deflection comes off the post. Still in there, and blasted wide by Heskey.
What a run from McAdoo again. He really is a thorn in the Manchester United team. I don't know how he's got there. I think a deflection took it on the bar, but look at the turn, stays on his feet. Thwaites can't live with him. To be fair, Kokonki's got back well, but that could easily have dropped in the goal. I'm not sure there's a deflection off Halafi there for the corner, or if it's going to be a goal kick.
In comes the corner. Only just nodded away at that near post to, again, that man McAdoo, who's been the brightest shining light in this second half for either team. And there's two on him, and he still managed to get his way out, McAdoo. Trying to thread it through. Thwaites got something on it and just relieves the pressure for Manchester United. Jim Thwaites has been on pre-season tours with the first team to give you an idea of how highly thought of he is. Heskey decides to take aim off Halafu. Even by his high standards, would have been quite something to score from there.
United just can't get out and get up the pitch at the moment. That first pass is so important to them, because it's just wave after wave of Manchester City attack now. They're not getting as close to the middle of the pitch to win the ball back, and Man City are finding those spaces with ease at the moment.
Braithwaite with a great ball out to Heskey. Just got himself in a little bit of a muddle, Regan Heskey. Couldn't bring it under control.
I think we see more mistakes now as the players get tired, but I think if I'm a Manchester City player and you recognise it, brilliant run, you've got to keep feeding McAdoo, keep getting him on the ball and let him work his magic, because he's causing absolute chaos on that right-hand side for Manchester City.
Change coming for Manchester United. Based on the balance of play in the game, maybe not too much of a surprise. It looks like James Overy, who's getting the final checks to defender. Burn Hughes has to be wary, finds Armour. Kokonki goes a little bit more direct. Now Ajayi. There's lots of space out there, and he's managed to find it with Brown. Still Brown, Gabriel. down once more. Rare chance on the break for Manchester United. They've been defending for their lives for the last quarter of an hour.
I think they've been grateful to have the ball up that end of the pitch. I'm not sure if this is James Overy, where he's going to play, because you feel like there's got to be a change in the midfield for United somewhere, because it's just too easy for Manchester City at the moment.
It's going to be Godwill Kokonki who comes off. Kokonki, the scorer of the equaliser 59 seconds after Manchester City were in front. He ghosted in at the back post to head in Jim Thwaites' cross. So a second change of the evening for Manchester United. They've got 3 left up their sleeve. Manchester United then made a couple. Man City made 1 and have 4 left.
I think that's a case of cramp that's just not going away with Kokonki. I'm sure Darren Fletcher would have wanted to keep him on the pitch with the power and the pace, and obviously with the problems that Macedo's causing, it'll be interesting to see how James Overy deals with that now that he's on the pitch.
Yeah, of all the players United would have been reluctant to take off, I think Kokonki would have been one of them. He's one of the most senior players in this team. He's pretty much the only survivor from the side that won the treble for the under-18s back in 2023-24. He was quite a young member of that team, and he is someone as well who is consistently trained with the senior team and been in quite a few senior matchday squads too. Here's Brown trying to find Gabriel, and he so nearly did. Vital from Gorman.
Great work from the substitute there defensively to get back in. That's exactly where Gabriel wants it in them positions. It looked like Nathaniel Junior Brown had picked him out there where he could cause problems for Manchester City. But brilliant from Finlay Gorman to get back and win the ball for City.
We're now at that point into the last 10 minutes where it's not quite the ghost of penalties, but it is that ticking clock towards extra time, and it can make players tense up also, where the one mistake at this late stage would leave so little time for their side to reply. Brown. Bragimov inside, Thwaites with a similar ball into the equaliser, and Obi was, I think, trying to be unselfish and actually set up Ibrahimov there. He just got it wrong. I don't think he was trying to actually score with his head here.
No, he got in an interesting position. It was a real tough to lay off, but at the same time, it was real hard to generate the power to get that header on target. So I think he's looked for the third man run that didn't come in the end from Ibrahimov.
Manchester United desperate to add a bit more history to this competition. They won it all of the first 5 seasons from 1953 to 57, winners in 63, and then the class of 92, they were pretty good. And then 95 on penalties against Spurs, 2003, 2011 and 2022, so have had to wait a little more infrequently in recent times to get their hands on the trophy compared to when it first started. As Brown wins a free kick.
Good work from Brown. United grown into the game. I thought they were sinking deeper and deeper, but the last few minutes had a really good spell of possession, and Brown there causing problems and getting a free kick in a really dangerous area. I would imagine it will be Jim Thwaites over to take it and to try and hit them areas where they can cause City problems again.
Well, you'd have to say, whatever Fletcher said 5 minutes or so ago in that helpful timeout that came from that Burn Hughes injury, it has definitely made a difference.
Do you call it an injury now?
Well, in the technical sense of the term it was, wasn't it? Thwaites over it. He's known for his deliveries. He's been compared by some to a young Beckham, particularly for what he can do from positions like this with crosses or more direct shots on goal. Thwaites in. A strong header helps Manchester City clear. And we'll come back for a head injury in the collision. It's Braithwaite who's down.
Brilliant header from the skipper there. Threw his head at it. He's doing nice shape on the delivery in bottom of Thwaites, but he's done so well there. Really brave to get it. I think he got a bang on his head for his troubles.
Yeah, he got the left shoulder of a charging Albert Mills, which isn't something I'd particularly fancy any day of the week.
No, good to see him back up on his feet though, and get this game going again. 7 minutes left of the 90, and it is even Darren Fletcher's biting his nails there.
Yeah, I'd love to get the 2 managers. Oliver Rice isn't having a great time either. Linked up to a little heart rate monitor.
No, yeah, I can imagine they'd be high. They'd be high at this stage.
whilst often they're able to keep the poker face, at this point you can see neither one is able to even keep an outward pretense of the cup.
No, it's nervous time as we approach the last 5 minutes, but Brown's starting to have a bit of an impact on the game. Like I said before, United haven't really had the impact from the wide men, whoever they've been during the last 85 minutes or so, that the Manchester City wide men have had on this game.
Mills. For the first time in a while, City managing to just get up and out on the high press. Lamb urging his teammates forward. On by Overy, looking for Gabriel. So often that man to make things happen for United.
Just never stops, Gabriel. He's always looking for the ball, always busy with it. He'll go without having a touch for 6-7 minutes, but then he's always bright and alive. And we know that the impact that James Overy had in the semi-final coming on for the assist for Chido Obi's winner, and we hope he can do that again, albeit from the other side of the pitch. But a brilliant technique that Overy's got.
Gabriel also scored the opener when Manchester United won 3-1 away at Manchester City in the league in mid-February. Regan Heskey did score for City, but goals from Obi set up by Kokonki, and then a superb free kick to see that Man United won 3-1, a bit of revenge for losing 4-2 at home against City in late September. Obi sniffing a chance there.
Where the spin was going to take that ball, Obi sensed a bit of blood and went for it, but again, really, really good defending from the skipper, Braithwaite.
Hetley stopped by Ajayi. Hudson. Wrexham-born, but been with City since the under-8s. He was an unused sub in a Champions League matchday squad against Juventus in December of 2024, whilst still very much in his teenage years. McAdoo. Well, that's pretty much the only mistake he's made all night, and he's got what one would hope is only a bit of cramp in the process and nothing more serious.
He's certainly done enough running tonight to warrant a bit of cramp, but it does feel like he's tired a little bit, not really had that impact in the last 10 minutes or so, but you do feel like there's one big opportunity left in this last 4 minutes plus whatever's added on for one of these teams.
It's rare in situations like that with so many quality players. It's not a moment for someone. Maybe this is it for McAdoo. He's got half of Manchester, the red side, back there after him. Wayne does get it away to Heskey. Fantastic! Regan Heskey might just have won the FA Youth Cup for Manchester City. Emil, a proud father in the stands, and it's his son who scored in the quarter-final, scored in the semi-final, both here and now at the Joy Stadium in the final. He's on target once more against their arch-rivals Manchester United.
Like we were just saying, there's going to be one more chance. Pep's not smiling yet. I'm not sure if there's a whistle gone somewhere, but I'm pretty sure the goal will stand. And it was a wonderful, wonderful finish. And it looked like they're all going down now. They've not got enough physios to see all this cramp going on. But it seemed like McAdoo took too many chances, and the chance had gone. But the ball ends up out of the feet, as you can see here. Fantastic ball. There was a bit of hand on the shirt, and you think the chance has gone. United have seen it off, but it finds its way out to Regan Heskey, and just look at the composure, cuts inside and puts his laces through it, and that's one that his dad, I'm sure, would be very proud of. You saw his beaming face, and that could very well be Regan Heskey being the match winner in the FA Youth Cup final.
Burn Hughes does get the tiniest of left hands to it, but it's struck by such power from such close range that even Manchester United's excellent shot stoppers not really got a chance.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute worldie if he keeps that out. He's so close to him, the shots hit with so much power.
And he's got two of his defenders obscuring his own view, and then Heskey got bundled on, and Heskey in the stands also got bundled on.
What a fantastic moment for him. Such a proud dad to see his son score what, again, could be the winner. But we saw what happened in the first half, and now United are going to have to throw the kitchen sink at City to look to get back into this game and send it to extra time.
Kitchen sink, the dining tables, the TV, the entire lot. Nothing to lose for Manchester United. They are moments from their season-ending trophy, the second in the North League, runners-up in the Premier League Cup final, heartbreak, losing to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. As Ajayi tries to skip through, no foul given. You would have seen confirmation there of the yellow card for Teddy Lamb. Lamb was booked after the goal because the almost 1,000 Manchester United fans behind that goal were met with some geeing up by Teddy Lamb, and he was booked for incitement of those away supporters.
Incitement of the fans in a Youth Cup final. That must be a first, I could imagine, for a booking for that.
You say that. Blackburn Burnley in the quarter-final was quite something. The winner scored with the last seconds of that one by Jadon Sargent, and there was no love lost in that particular East Lancashire derby. And there's been plenty of drama throughout this competition this season, and you sense there's more to come. Noah Ajayi comes off, and on comes Samuel Lusale, and Yohalathu comes off in place of Dante Plunkett.
A couple of subs, a little bit more energy for these last. Didn't see how long the fourth official put up for injury time, but they need to inject some energy. United, you do feel like the levels are low. They're not getting up the pitch, but there's certainly not long left to save this game.
What have Manchester United got left in the tank? Otherwise, their rivals Manchester City will be on for a potential League and Cup double and a treble if they were to win at Stamford Bridge next week, and you count the North League title, the National title and the FA Youth Cup. 4 minutes minimum added on. Regan Heskey gets plenty of applause and appreciation, including from his proud dad. On comes the 15-year-old Parker, who has been key in this campaign, scoring in the fourth and fifth round. And speaking of key, arguably the player of the match, Ryan McAdoo, also makes way. What a game he's had, as Manchester City understandably look towards the slightly more defensive-minded option of Kylan Midwood to try and see it out. Can Manchester United, for a second time tonight, respond quickly? They go to the edge, and it's a brilliant shot from Ibrahimov, and Max Hudson just about keeps it out.
It's a lovely free kick routine, great step over. Ibrahimov's hit it well. You sort of wondered where it was going, but Hudson's there, got it in the second attempt, and got a bit of a shoulder barge for his troubles as he took the rebound as it came out. But I think it was, you can guess who it was. It was Albert Mills leaving a bit on the goalkeeper.
Mills, tough as old boots, centre-half, making his presence felt. Bit of desperation for Manchester United, and you can understand why.
Yeah, you guess there'd be a few more minutes over the four that has been allotted because of the substitutions that have just happened, but time is really running out, and United need the ball up the upper end of the pitch, and City got it just where they want it, really.
And after those changes, Manchester United have just one sub left. City have got two up their sleeve. But what have Manchester United got? Such a rich history in this competition. This is their 16th final. They've won 11 of them. They're behind against their biggest rivals, who picked them to the league title as well. For Manchester City, it would mean so much. Last season, they won the North League title, but they lost in the national final, and they lost in this competition's final.
So James over his move back over to his more natural right-back position.
Brown puts in a decent ball, but it's headed wide. Headed wide. And it wasn't a bad chance. Cross-fired into that near post.
I think it's not a bad chance in terms of what Manchester United have had in chances in this second half, but it's a half chance at best for Overy, who's got that energy, he's still got the fresh legs to get in the box from that right-back position.
Desperation for Darren Fletcher. Will it be 2 defeats in 2 finals for Manchester United? Could be another City sub here. Floyd Samba, the latest to cramp up Unsurprising that so many players are going down, because this game has had, particularly as both halves have gone on, a non-stop, almost basketball-style tempo to it.
Without a doubt, I think that the pace of the game has been fast and frenetic throughout the whole game, and now we're seeing it, as we've seen more or less in every round. It is under 18s football, there is a lot of cramp and that. We're probably not seeing it as much in the final today as we saw in the semi-finals, but it's maybe a little bit of time wasted as well at this stage.
We are into overtime in stoppage time, but because of the delays, we reckon there's still about at least a minute, if not more, to play here. City could kill it, though. Straight to Bern Hughes from Teddy Lamb. Over it. Sends it long, headed away by Gorman. Ferocious challenge from Gorman.
Anywhere will do now for City. I think they can smell that cup coming, staying here at the Etihad. Well, at the small Etihad stadium they're playing at today, but there's more cramp.
Well, 40 years ago, City won 3-1 on aggregate back in 1984. 1-1 in the first leg, and then won 2-0 at the Old Main Road in the second leg, thanks to David Boyd and Paul Malden. And Regan Heskey and Floyd Samba will put their names in similar floodlights in Manchester City history if they hold out here, no matter what they go on and do in their careers.
Without a doubt, it's just a start for all these players.
Armour. Time rapidly running out for Manchester United. Gabriel, is there one last moment for them? If there is, you'd sense Gabriel would be the player to do it. Thwaites. Spread wide by Mills. Brown. What magic has he got in those boots? Scored the quarter-final winner against Sunderland. Thwaites again. Tries to thread one through. It's a great ball for Brown. Brown inside. It's Overy on. And then in the box, it's Dobie who's denied, and it's away by Braithwaite. Bern Hughes ticks it on. Is there another moment for Manchester United, or was that it? Thwaites wide for Brown. Overy again. Muted handball appeals. Referee Neil not interested. Bern Hughes once more. Armour. And then across by Plunkett. Hudson goes to ground. And City can smell the trophy. And Manchester City have the trophy. Losers in the FA Youth Cup final last season. But Oliver Rice's side have done it thanks to Regan Heskey. Just 3 minutes or so left when he crashed in. Manchester City North League winners. And they're still on for the treble. It is they who've taken this FA Youth Cup final. It finishes Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1. Take a look back at the highlights from an FA Youth Cup final that lived up to its billing. From the second half, after it was 1-0 at the break, Floyd Samba's goal in the 14th minute cancelled out by Godwin Kakonki 59 seconds later. But at the start of the second half, in Chadwick, Floyd Samba could have won a penalty here.
Looking back, it looked like a penalty. Great work from McCaney, who again here was electric all night, really. Some fantastic runs. And you can see the combination of the wide men, the speed that they've got. And Regan Heskey will be a little bit disappointed not to hit the target there, but I think that was a sign of what was to come later on in the game.
Heskey, of course, eventually being the toast of the blue side of Manchester. McAdoo was a nightmare for Manchester United all night.
Couldn't really deal with him, didn't stop running, kept getting in positions and hitting the bar there, and it was always... McAdoo was at the heart of everything that City done from an attacking sense all evening, particularly in the second half, where he just looked like the ball was glued to his foot at times.
And even Kokonki, considered one of the strongest players in under-18's eligibility this season, was struggling to deal with him. And it was no surprise that McAdoo had a part in what proved to be the winning goal, because he brought so many United defenders towards him. It ultimately created this bit of space that allowed Regan Heskey to win the game.
Yeah, probably the one time McAdoo took too many touches. If he got the first touch off the shot, but it worked out well in the end, and you can see when Regan Heskey gets the ball, he's got one thing on his mind to get the shot off. He's come inside and hit the ball with so much power once he steps inside it. Cameron Burnhughes gets a slight touch on his shoulder, but you're not saving that, and it was so late in the game that too late for United to come back.
And of course, since 2018, no longer a two-legged home and away final, as it so often historically had been, of course, before that in the FA Youth Cup final. So little time for Manchester United to respond. It was Heskey who won it and gave City their second FA Youth Cup in the last 3 seasons. We'll be back very shortly for the trophy lift. City are winners of the FA Youth Cup for the third time in the last 6 seasons, having lifted the trophy in 2020 against Chelsea, 2024 against Leeds, and now in the sweetest possible fashion, doing it against their arch rivals Manchester United, leaving the Red Devils trophyless, having finished runners-up to City in the Under-18 North League this season, lost the Premier League Cup final against Crystal Palace on penalties at Selhurst Park recently, and then suffered a second final defeat tonight. It is almost a perfect night to be a Manchester City fan, Luke Chadwick.
Without a doubt, and I think on the balance of play, Manchester City deserved the win tonight. They had much more shots on goal, they had much more possession of the ball. United fought fiercely, even had a last chance with Obi at the end that you almost expect him to put away. But I think City, 2 fantastic finishes and a free kick from Floyd Samba and the winner from Regan Heskey, have come out deserved winners in the end.
Heskey in main shot there, scored a beauty here in the quarter-final against Everton. He scored from the penalty spot against Blackburn as City came from behind to win the semi-final here, and then produced a moment of magic that was the difference. Ryan McCadu there was a big part of that winning goal as well, and arguably for my 2 cents might have been the player of the match even.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say as head and shoulders above everyone else on the pitch in terms of the individual performance. Pep's got a glass of red wine in his hand, enjoying the evening to see his young team, well, his youth team win the FA Youth Cup.
Rick Parry, EFL chairman, handing out the medals, and it starts, as all of such occasions do, with your runners-up Manchester United, who completed an under-18s treble just a couple of seasons back, but unfortunately for them finished this season trophyless with those 2 finals defeats and runners-up in the league. These are medals that right now will not necessarily bring quite the pride they would like, but I'm sure these players can look back in times to come with a lot of pride on the run that they went on to get here. Manchester United beating Peterborough in the 3rd round, 1-0 at home in early December. Then in January they saw off Derby after extra time against Old Trafford thanks to Chido Obi, a 4-1 win at Oxford in the 5th round, and then a 3-2 home win at Old Trafford, coming from behind in the quarter-final against Sunderland and seeing off Palace after extra time thanks to Obi in the semi-final. It just didn't quite fall for them today.
Yeah, it's been some run for them, and all of them will be absolutely heartbroken collecting that runners-up medal this evening, but you don't know where that leads. It's all about development at this age, and this disappointment gives them the carrot to then go on and on. It might be something they look back on, and I'm sure in years to come, they were in a Youth Cup final, but can that be the thing that really makes them kick on and want more?
United, 11-time winners. They've only finished runners-up 5 times now, including tonight. They've generally had a very good record in finals. Runners-up in 82, 86, 93 and 2007. It's been Manchester City who historically have often struggled once getting to finals. This City's 5th FA Youth Cup win, but they've actually been runners-up 9 times. But you have to also factor in the recent context. City are getting stronger and stronger as time goes on. This is the 3rd time in 6 seasons they've got their hands on this trophy. Before 2020, in their entire history, they only won it twice, and now they've done it 5 times in total.
That fantastic record, you can see the investment that's been made, not just in the first team at Manchester City over the years, but within the academy as well. They've built an incredible campus, and they're now producing not only players for the first team, but players to sell on, but winning Youth Cups, which is the most important thing in under-18s football.
Moments to remember for Oliver Rice and his staff. They had heartbreak last season. They went in front in the 2nd minute thanks to Matty Warhurst against Villa at Villa Park, but then ended up losing 3-1, and they lost the league final against Villa as well, and of course be in that Premier League national final against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Friday the 22nd of May. And I'm sure there's every chance you might see Pep Guardiola in the crowd at that one as well, if first-team commitments allow him. It's so inspiring as well for those players to see that very clear connection with the first team, and someone like McCadu coming in and getting those appearances in the FA Cup. Others have been in matchday squads and have had their senior debut at points too.
it makes such a difference. Not only obviously Pep there watching the game, but all the first team players to support them as a youth team player. That means so much and gives you that sort of even further carrot if you needed it to feel like, can I get to that next level? Can I get to the under-21s? Can I get to the first team?
And it will be the entire City squad that comes up to take the applause here. The likes of Charlie Gorman, Karen Kassim, Ben Vickery and Oliver Tevenon. Some of them didn't get on tonight. And then people that have made impacts in previous rounds, the likes of Christian Dunbar, McDonald, Marlo Barrett, Dexter Oliver, Johan Obin, Finley Grigg, Freddie Laurie, Charlie Holt, Milo Martin, Sam Wadsworth and Timmy Wister, as well as, of course, those that got on the pitch tonight. It is a squad effort when you get this far, and they haven't done it the easy way. Back on the 5th of December, 3-1 home winners against Fulham, scoring 3 times in the last 10 minutes. They dispatched Arsenal 5-2 at home in mid-January, one of the strongest academies in the country. And then speaking of strong academies, they comprehensively battered Chelsea 4-1 at home in a game where, by all accounts, even those more on the Chelsea side of things, based on the chances they could have scored even more. And then in the quarters here, 3-0 winners against Everton in early April, 4-1 winners against Blackburn in the semi-final, and now, of course, winners against Manchester United in the final as Rick Parry hands Caden Braithwaite the trophy. Your 2026 FA Youth Cup winners are Manchester City for the 5th time in their history and the 3rd time in the last 6 seasons. It is the light blue side of Manchester who have their name on this prestigious trophy, and having won the North League in 8 days' time, will get the chance to take the National League final on Friday at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea for a treble. For now, they've taken out the applauding on the celebration. They've already got the party going in some style, with a moment that no one's going to forget anytime soon, Luke Chadwick.
No, what a moment for these lads to win the FA Youth Cup. Caden Braithwaite, who was excellent on the night, defending, lifting the trophy up, and they've done some sort of damage to their boards. I hope that all the guys are fit for that, the big game coming up for them.
Yeah, the last thing they want is to be out of that when they've got the chance to make themselves the National League and Youth Cup champions. And if you count the Northern League as a title in and of itself, it then becomes a treble of sorts. Thank you very much for your company wherever you've been across the world. Thanks to Luke Chadwick alongside yours truly, Michael McCann, and all of you for watching at home, as well as our hard-working production crew behind the scenes here at the Joy Stadium. Your FA Youth Cup champions for tonight are Manchester City, and Manchester for this evening is blue. Good night.